and this is just as a fan's point of view, I'm guessing what caused people to feel that way, because I have a lot of friends that listen to both labels,
Yeah.
and we all feel the same way. And it, in my opinion, it was like because SPM was so big, and it just happened that when he went to prison, Bing goes to prison around the same time, and it felt like the era came to an end.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of people feel that way, and in a sense, you're right. Because and to me, and one thing I don't like to talk about is politics and religion too much, but because you hurt people's feelings, but that judge putting Carlos incarcerated for that long with no evidence, not one Mexicano on the jury, to me sent a different message as to more they wanted to shut him up and they wanted to stop his growth as far as the amount of Mexicanos and minorities at that, for that matter, that
Yeah.
he was reaching. He was getting too successful. You know what I'm saying? And so to me that was just a way of shutting him up. And by doing that, that knocked out the wind of the Latinos that were up and coming. It took the wind out of of everybody's sails, and so you saw a decline, in the Latin industry. Thank God that we have these super powerful youngsters coming out like GT Garza, that boy T, all of them, Peso, who else? Brick, you know what I'm saying, with the Wolf Pack, and
Wolfpack.
you got Glass House, you know what I mean? That Sal Mex, the Sal Mex. I mean, thank God that we do have these, people that are these youngsters and these Latinos that are banning, getting together, proving to the world that there is a force to be reckoned with. I mean, Jessica Jeans, she's doing a thing on 92.1 on Sundays now called Sabor Sunday, and it's
Yeah.
just Latin rap from Houston basically on the radio. Man, it's awesome. You know what I'm saying? So it's getting. I think that the momentum is growing. You know what I'm saying? But how long has it been since Carlos got locked up? You're talking
Yeah.
about a good 13, 15 years,
14
17.
years,
You know what I'm
2005,
saying?
wasn't it around that time?
Yeah, since 2003. So I mean, man, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, losing when that happened around the same time, it was like a 1-2 punch to the Latin, rap scene
See,
in
I'm
Houston.
glad you said that because my question was going to be, being that Bing and Carlos get convicted at the same time, around the same time, what do you think would have happened had those two not been convicted? Well, how do you think things would have played out?
Well, definitely Carlos was the mogul, right? So I could see Carlos being like, I could compare him to like, if he wouldn't have got locked up, maybe he would be in a position where Jay-Z's at. You know what I'm saying? As far as being the top mogul, you know what I'm saying, rapper in the industry, Carlos would be the top Latin mogul, you know what I'm saying, rapper in the industry.
Yeah.
Honestly, if he never got locked up, the question should be like, what would he be writing about? Because right now his I know his lyrics and I know that his albums have been a little dark or sad, or some people say he's losing the, saying the comedy, or he's, it's just a little dark and it's a little sad, saying slower. But that's because I think he's rapping on things that's only in his memory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I asked Carlos, or he's been asked before, what do you remember? I mean, what do you miss? I'm sorry. And his answer was, everything that I miss is gone. So it's hard to miss something that's gone. And you understand what he's saying. Like the dog Plex that we were talking about, he sees his dog still in the backyard, but it was about 6 or 7 years ago, or I don't know, but Plex died.
Yeah.
He jumped over the fence with his leash still attached and he choked. So
He actually rapped about that on a
so
verse.
he's
Yeah, yeah.
gone. You know what I'm saying? I remember Carlos telling me that he woke up in the cell one time and he thought Plex was with him in the cell. You know what I'm saying? So can you imagine his mind and what he would be rapping about if he was out here breathing the air that we breathe, or in the different cities that he would have traveled to, the different people he would have met? I honestly would have seen Carlos meeting people like Nipsey Hussle, you know, meeting those kind of people who are like him changed the world. You know what I'm saying? Because Carlos was even though they looked at him as being a Mexican rapper and everything, to him there was only two races in this world, and that's players and haters.
Players and haters.
You know what I'm saying? He didn't see color. We didn't see gangs, you know what I'm saying, in our people. We saw the thrive, we saw the creative, process that we have as Latinos. And he was, in a sense, in the same way, and he was about giving back to the family, giving back to your community. His hands are tied. He's in prison right now. You know what I'm saying? How can he do that? And even though he still tries to do those things, you know what I mean? But I mean, yeah, that's a great question. You know what I'm saying? Where would he be if he wouldn't have gotten incarcerated? And the same thing with Bing. Where would Bing be if he hadn't gotten incarcerated? I mean, his vocals, lyrical skills were at a top notch then. Just imagine where both of those lyrical skills would be now. That's a badass question because...
Shout out to Mr. Lucky. That was his question he submitted to us.
What's up, Mr. Lucky? He going down, one with the voice box. I love that shit. I'm a fan of his shit, man. That's dope.
So, you don't have to answer this one. I think this is more a Pancho V question. Hopefully we can get Pancho V on the show. But I'm going to use him as an example. You had Powder that was with Salty Water. And then Carlos, like you said, Carlos was a powerhouse. So he brought Powder over. Do you think, in your opinion, that if Bing and Carlos would be out right now, Bing would have ended up with Dope House, shut him down?
I don't think so. I think Bing has a loyalty. I think Bing would be pretty much on his own. But I think he would still be a part of the Shut 'Em Down clique. I think he would have represented Shut 'Em Down to the fullest, especially after Shut 'Em Down's CEO's passing, Danny Trevino, who was the backbone, of the executive producer, right? Ike Man was more of the, choreographer. We call him, I call Ike Man Suge Ike, you know what I'm saying? Because he wants to put, he's a manager. He wants to put things together. You know what I'm saying? Because he didn't start out being a rapper, you know what I'm saying, in a sense. In fact, he'll tell you, I helped him find the one, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Ike was more like, behind the scenes, and he was more like the one that was running everything, even though Danny Trevino was the CEO of Shut 'Em Down. And being loyal to Shut 'Em Down and being Ike's cousin, I don't think he would have crossed over to Dope House.
Yeah.
That being said, though, Money rules, you know what I'm saying?
Ain't it?
You know what I'm saying? Money will make you do some crazy shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if you want to go from being Kevin Durant, from the OKC, and you got to get with the championship team to get that ring.
Yeah. Talk about Kevin. Could you imagine a collaboration with SPM if he was free with Kevin Gates, though?
Oh my goodness. Exactly. I mean, just imagine. I mean, the youngsters that are out now and with the social media and the way everything is rolling. God, man, heck yeah. I mean, it's still possible. You know what I'm saying? Carlos is still working. You know what I'm saying? And we won't get into how, but he's still working. You know what I'm saying? Don't get it twisted. He will not be stopped. You know what I'm saying? The Dope House lives forever. It's not going to stop at all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
I don't want to get too deep into Carlos right now. We'll come back to Carlos in a second. One of the question that we had as well was, despite the ups and downs with Filero, obviously you told us you guys would disagree on some things. What's your current relationship with Filero, and are you guys working with any projects together at the moment?
As a matter of fact, I got together with Troublemaker. Has a friend of his named Chento, who's a friend of mine now, and Chento has East End Empire, and they got their little crew and everything. But what I like is that Troublemaker got together with Slinky. Yeah, Troublemaker got together with Slinky. Get well soon, Slinky. We're rooting for you. I want that to go out to his family. And they did a song together, right? And the whole thing was to get the other aggravated, most hated members to get on this song.
Then the world went low. The most hated, aggravated rap group still alive, making sure that 5735 never dies. What they know about that Southeast Latin sector? Grim Shadow met Filero and Balasso and wrecked ya. They crew coming at ya, the nobody snatch ya. That's the rap that captured all the Mexicanos that's blasted, making the matter worse. Accept the hated. I dedicate this to sleep with the most activated. Rated over 2 decades.
Well, it happened. You know what I'm saying? Filero got on it. My brother got on it. They even got me to get a verse on it. I don't even. I think the only one that's left is Ike Man. He's the only one that hasn't gotten on the song yet. And Slinky got into a situation where he slipped into a coma. I think he's doing better now, but it's very, very tough right now. So we dedicate this song to him. And so by that song being put together, it was done by, the beat was actually done by a guy named Sin. Second or Pasadena second one. I'm sorry, Sin, but Sin, you know who you are. He made the beat initially, but I had told Filero, I was like, we never did a click or a aggravated song with nobody's beat except for mine and yours. So I ended up remaking the beat. I thank Sin for allowing me to do that because I wanted to ask him, and he's like, yeah, man. So Filero is now putting the cuts, you know what I'm saying, and doing that stuff. So as far as us collabing, yeah, we got this one song that everybody's on. In fact, we're going to film the video for it August 31st. My brother's going to come down, and we're going to do a video for it. And, that's probably going to be the only reunion that you're going to get as of late, you know what I'm saying, with the aggravated, most hated members. And it's cool because, remember, we used to call them faggravated, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. And the most hated was, in the end, we all, you know what I'm saying, we all still hang out together. We all cool, loco, you know what I'm saying, trouble with it. Everybody's on it. Pranksters on it. You know what I'm saying? It's dope. It's going to be dope.
Yeah. So since we're in the topic of aggravated, like you just mentioned it, Dope House purchased the rights to the most hated music. Mm-hmm. Is that true?
It is true.
And why do you think? Or
they only purchased the rights to one album. Well, no, I take it back. Both albums, the White Album and No Rest for the Real. The reason why they did that is because Southwest Distribution. I don't know if you remember as far as back. Robert Gilliman. That one. It was called a One Stop, right? And that One Stop went under. And Dope House bought like all their, all the CDs that were in the warehouse.
Yeah.
So they had to get with each one of the CD owners and had to get the rights to distribute it. Just like, they went through Robert Gilliman, and it's called Hushtown Distribution. So yeah, Jam Down owned, our CD, right? And they sold the rights to it. We didn't own the rights to it. Jam Down did. Remember, that was under Jam Down Entertainment. That was under Jam Down Records.
Yeah. So are you currently producing any work for the new Dope House? As far as Shay Woods, Just in Case, Carley?
Shay Wood bought a track from me. He put it on Instagram. It was nice. You know what I'm saying?
Freestyle he did?
Little freestyle he did. They gave me a little compensation for that. That was dope. I haven't really worked with Just in Case at all. Little Los is doing most of the production, I guess, for those two guys, which, hey, big up to Little Los, you know what I'm saying? He became a powerhouse. He makes some dope beats, you know what I'm saying? And I consider him like a Dope House feeling, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's where they're getting most of their production from.
Yeah. So how was it? Well, what about Carley? Are you producing anything for Carley?
No, I have. I mean, I work for Dope House constantly. I'm not signed. I've never been signed to any label.
Yeah.
Okay, except for Jam Down, right? That was only because of the most hated. But I never really been signed for any label. You know what I'm saying? So I've always been a contract, work for hire type thing. What Carlos would do is I would give him songs and he would buy them. I would give him, my first when I did with High So High, my payment has always been the same with him: 3 for a G, half up front, half when I'm done. So I would give him 3 songs. He'd give me $500, right? And when it's the lyrics are on it and they're done, he'd give me the other $500. That's cheap, right? Instead of getting $1,000 each song. And I've always kept that with Carlos. Now that when he got locked up and we started working on the When Devil Strike album and stuff like that, he actually was nice enough to give me $1,000. He said, "Look, I'm gonna give you $1,000 for each song from now on." Hook or not, you know what I'm saying? So I always worked with Dope House, and what I usually do is I just submit, a few songs, several songs at a time. He'll take the time to listen to them, and he'll distribute them however he likes. Or, like you said, Shay Ivan was, listening to my what, and Shay was listening
Shay
to that song, and when he heard it, he spit his lyrics on it. I really
Yeah.
don't know how that song came about, how he got on it. I don't know if they gave it to him, he chose it. I don't know, but however it worked out, it worked out. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I haven't done anything with Carley though. I would love to. I would love to work with Carley.
Hint, Carley. Jump
Yeah,
on this.
hint, Carley. See, Carley, the funny story, I don't mean to cut you off, but the funny story about Carley and Little Los is that when Carlos was locked up in Palestine, right? I would take the trip to go see them on their family day, right? They would go and Gina would drive. It was an all day thing, right? Because it would take like 5 hours to drive out there, 4.5, 5 hours. We'd see him for an hour or two, which I would only get 15 minutes. Hello, and then. We would come back. Well, on the road trip, I'm looking at, Carley and Little Los. They were young, way younger, you know what I'm saying? And they fought a lot, in the back seat because they're kids. They were kids and they were siblings. And they messed with each other the whole ride, you know what I'm saying? And Gina was telling them, Carlos, leave his sister alone, or, Carly, leave, and she was always on Little Los's side, right? You know what I'm saying? That was her baby, right? So Carly would get in the most trouble. He's messing with me, man. So, yeah, I've, watched him grow up, you know what I mean? And it's beautiful to see that Carly has her own, daughter now. Daughter?
Yeah.
And, Silos is, I don't see him as much as I, used to, you know what I'm saying? But to see them grown up now, and doing their own thing, and man, it's an awesome. So yeah, you know what I'm saying. Of course, I want to work with Carley.
So, again, I hate to put you on the spot,
sure,
but
I don't care.
working with two different generations of Dope House. Obviously, you work with Carlos and everything, Baby Bash and all them that was coming up. If there was something you could tell Carley to help her improve, what would that be?
Damn, that's a good question. That's a hard question. Carley, I know for a fact, South Park, her dad is the one that choreographs, her rhyme scheming.
You can
Probably take, yeah, you can. Probably take the words, because she writes, and he'll just, just flip the whole thing around, you know what I'm saying? Do it in a way that she's not accustomed, or she, didn't initially plan it to be. So it's hard for me to even step in and say, okay, now do it this way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, because as it is, she's already having her dad, guide her, right? So the only thing that I can tell her, honestly, is to keep listening to her dad. You know what I'm saying? And just kind of have fun with it. You know what I'm saying? I know it's frustrating working with Carlos. We all do. We all know it's frustrating.
Imagine being your dad.
Imagine being your dad. You know what I'm saying? And so she's going to argue with him, right? She's going to tell him, no, Dad, this is the way I want to do it. She has that, right? Because that's her daughter. That's, you know what I'm saying? So they have that relationship where she can actually tell him, no, I don't want to do it that way. So my advice to her is to try to put that a little bit to the side and trust him. And I'm sure she does, you know what I'm saying? But I would say continue to do that, because I know that he's doing it in her best interest for the family and for them. I don't even think that she wanted to rap at first, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that she wanted to I don't know that for a fact, but, I could just imagine.